When you are seeking the face of God and you are doing intercession for your family, generations, you're praying for yourself, you're cleaning up your life, you're cleaning up this area, this area, this area, and the other, something called the strong man might show up. Okay, so I want to encourage you and tell you, when the strong man shows his face, when he shows himself, half the battle is already done. When the strong man becomes so uncomfortable that he shows himself to you, half the battle is done, because the enemy works best in secrecy and in being invisible. Like, you not knowing that something is there, he works best in that. He works best in deception, like, hey, I don't really exist. Hey, manipulating and thinking everything is fine. My grandma suffered that, my mama suffered that, I'm suffering that. That is not, when you normalize suffering, when you normalize dysfunction, when you normalize being taken advantage of, whatever it may be in your family, when you normalize that, which is not the norm, through the perception of God, not your perception that it has been hurt and damaged, God's perception of what he expects from his child. When you normalize that, the enemy is like, yes, I got her. The mindset that worked with a grandma is going to work with her as well, because it worked with the mom. And then the other thing I want to tell you guys, when your parents start to say things like, oh, that's fine, that's just the way we are, those are the things you need to focus on. When they start to say things like, that's just the way we are, that is let's say your last name is Laurie. That's the Laurie's way of doing things. That's the Laurie's way of thinking. You have to have the kingdom way of thinking, the kingdom way of doing things. There's bondage tied to it. That's the kind of way that we do stuff, especially when it is rooted in deception, rooted in manipulation, rooted in bondage. Okay, now, back to why I'm even making this video. When the strong man is exposing himself, half the battle is done. Be bold. Now, when the strong man showed himself in the days of the apostles and they were threatened by the Pharisees and Sadducees, they prayed to God and asked God for boldness. So that's one prayer I want to tell you. I'll put the prayer up here. Ask God for boldness. You need boldness, because sometimes the way these show up, y'all, it can show up as a dinosaur-looking creature, as a creature with two different kind of hooves. It can show up as a man who is a giant. It can show up. It depends on your family, depends on you, depends on the family that you married into. So it depends on what you're dealing with. So for David, the strong man that came was Goliath. And so you can also see sometimes a strong man showing up as a man who is a giant. And you're looking like, what the heck is happening right now? I have to deal with this one? With this one? Right? Strong man. But he became so uncomfortable, he had to show himself up in an effort to intimidate you and get you to become fearful. Why? We are supposed to be as bold as lions. We're not supposed to be fearful. We're not supposed to be fearful. So when you become fearful, you feed into that. The purpose of them showing themselves, because they're so uncomfortable with your prayers, your intercession, your repentance, your confessions, is to scare you and get you to stop. Okay? So be like the apostles. Pray for boldness. Pray for boldness. Do not be scared of them. You don't want to do what Job said. The thing I feared the most has come upon me. The thing I feared the most, what I dreaded the most, has happened to me. Don't do that. When you feed into the fear, like, whoa, it's 10 times as big as me. If God be for me, who can be against me? If God be for me, who can be against me? Yes, I'm one person facing this humongous giant person or Nephilim or whatever it is. God is for me. Stand on that truth. God is for me. It's uncomfortable, so it's showing its face to intimidate you and get you to become fearful. Okay? Don't feed into the fear. Ask God for boldness. Wake up and engage the principles that come against and break down, weaken the principles that weaken the strong man. For example, so for Jehoshaphat, The other army was way stronger than them. They were way stronger, way more skilled, way better. But the strategy that God gave him was praise and worship. So praise and worship weakens a strong man. Praise and worship weakens the strong man. Second strategy, praying for boldness when you get up from that dream or when you come back away from that vision or that trance. Ask God for boldness so that immediately you're going to be emboldened and not become fearful. That's very, very important to carry on the mission. Third strategy is praying in tongues, praying in the spirit. That weakens a strong man. Why? You're praying mysteries to God. You're just allowing God to fight your battles for you. Okay? Pray in tongues if you have the gift of tongues already. Okay? And if there's somebody else in your family who can assist you in prayer that day, call them. Call them and say, hey, can you join me in prayer to invoke or to use Matthew 18:19, which says, where two agree on earth for anything, it shall be done. Because I'm facing this strong man and you're in my family, it most likely affects you too. So just go ahead and join me in prayer so we can deal with this thing now. So Matthew 12:29 talks about, how is anyone able to enter into the house of the strong man and to plunder his goods unless he first binds the strong man, and then he will plunder his house. Okay, so the beauty of being able to address a strong man is that there is plunder in his house. This is a spirit. This is the entity that enabled you to become plundered. It's overseeing a bunch of what belongs to you. When you overcome this entity, a lot of that stuff will come back to you. Okay, so it says right here, how can one enter into the house of a strong man unless and to plunder his goods unless he binds the strong man? So a binding is required. But what I do is I say, Lord, judge a strong man, strip him of his authority, disarm him, and bind him up. I just take him to court. I don't even care. I'm not going to say, I bind you, I bind you, I bind you. No. I just let my Father do it. Okay. So what I do is I say, Lord, I bring this strong man into this court. May he be summoned, and may the accuser of the brethren also be summoned into this court. And then I say, Lord, strip him of his authority, disarm him, bind him up, and judge him. So I'm asking God to strip him of authority, to disarm him, to bind him with chains, and then to also judge him. Because I want a judgment against that strong man. I don't want him to come back or think and re-enter that family or whatever. If I'm praying for somebody, I want that to be done. Not a repeat of something similar 5 years later or with their children or their grandchildren. Absolutely not. I like to finish the work for that particular thing. It's no longer an issue in that family. Okay, so yes, you can bind the strong man, Matthew 12:29, but I recommend you ask God as a judge to gird himself with strength, put on vengeance like a cloak, and judge a strong man, disarm the strong man, strip the strong man of his authority, and bind him up and judge him. Like, take him away. So that is sorted, okay? Deal with things to their entirety. Like, complete the work. Don't do half the work and then be like, oh my gosh, I was fine for like 10 years and now I'm back in this situation. No, when something is judged, when someone is judged, that is final. Ask God to judge, all right? But I want to tell you and encourage you that when the strong man shows himself, do not be disheartened, do not be discouraged, do not become fearful. Half the battle is done. You're almost there regarding that particular issue, okay? God bless you. Bye. Happy praying.